One of the things that I think is interesting about America is that it is such a market consumer society that it seems, especially during election years, when, like this year, 2008, was an election, presidential election, that all of the political messages get compressed and condensed into commercial messages. And that's why you have this idea that, oh, they speak in sound bites, and everything gets compressed faster and faster and faster. And I think that one of the ideas behind this work, Pure Products of America, is really about this condensation of politics, distilling politics into a consumer item or product. This Fuck Snow Globe is our second snow globe that we made. And it came out in 2004, just after the elections here. We were very upset at the results in the 2004 elections, and Nora had this idea of which kind of clarified her mind, of making a flux snow globe. So for most people, this snow globe is probably more just a kind of a pun or a satire on sentimental objects. The word fuck is, Nora used the type style of the Bush logo. We have made over 200 of these, and they're modestly priced and are sold on the internet and also at museum stores. This is what the Fuck Snow Globe looks like in action.
We really chose the form of a snow globe because to us it's kind of icon of a souvenir or a kind of monument. It's something that it's like a little mini monument to, in this case, it's John Ashcroft, who is the former Attorney General in the Bush administration. The first Attorney General in the Bush administration. He has racist policies, and so that's what sort of gave us the idea to make this piece that is about his whiteness. John Ashcroft received a snow globe from a colleague of his as a gift. And the reporter knew of the story of Ashcroft receiving the snow globe and contacted us to see if we would do an interview with him for The New Yorker on what Ashcroft may think about his snow globe and what the point of the snow globe was from our perspective. So we did the interview. It did make it into The New Yorker. And in the end of the article, the reporter said, well, this snow globe is really a critique of Attorney General Ashcroft. And David Israelite said, gee, that's too bad that the artists are critical of the Attorney General, because we were actually looking for someone to do his official portrait. So we took on that challenge as well. And Marshall's going to talk about that.
So our first reaction was to make this artwork, which is a mugshot of the Attorney General, and the date of the on the slate when he was supposedly arrested. As we worked on this, Nora and I looked to each other and said, well, why not make a series of mugshots of all the Bush administration? And so the first edition of lineup was this. And we made portraits of all the administration officials who we felt had misled the American public.
This is a postcard book. And on the back, instead of the information about the scenic site, we actually have the quote, which is the moment that the first time they lied to the American public.
Yeah, so that you can see Rumsfeld when he was making a statement about Iraq or torture, and Colin Powell with the date of his arrest when he lied about the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. John Ashcroft, with the date when he made a statement about terrorism.
The public library put the artwork on display. We received an email from Fox News saying, "Can we interview you?" And we had no idea what this was about. They singled out our work and brought it to the attention of the conservative media, but then it snowballed and became a kind of a big deal.
Hey, take a look. There's an interesting exhibit over at the New York Library.
Look at this. It looks like the president's been arrested along with Karl Rove and Condoleezza Rice, and they're not happy about it. Is this real or is this art?
It's satire. This is called political attack art. That's the genre. And this is festooning the halls of the New York Public Library, which is paid for in part with some taxpayer money. And you see, these are obviously phony, mocked up, dummy mugshots of the president, the vice president, Condoleezza Rice, and it's in the hallway for all of the visiting students, most school
Where's
students.
the fair and balanced here?
Right, there's no one on the Democratic side. They don't have, say, Sandy Berger, for instance, in a mugshot with, say, documents that he's stuffing into his socks or anything. So
Senator
some
Kennedy.
people say, you know, okay, interesting satire, sort of can be funny. They have sort of funny expressions. But in the New York Public Library, in the main hallway, where students are escorted through?
Exactly right. Little kids thinking, oh, is that a picture of my president? And it's so one-sided. In fact, one person said, this is a library. This is not an art gallery or museum. Email us whether you think it's unfair and balanced or just funny, because some of the people interviewed by the New York Daily News today said, oh, it's hysterical.
They said it dates back to the 18th century, lighten up New York, essentially.
Does this cross the line because it's the library or because it's the mugshots?
Well, both. Avi, frankly, I'm just wondering who put Al-Qaeda in charge of the New York Public Library system. I mean, this is when you've done something that the enemy would do and would approve of and applaud, you know you've got some trouble. Vice President Cheney's heart trouble just from a few days ago. Once again, the left-wing blogosphere was full of the vile hatred about his health. So when you're looking at responsibility, first of all, these should be taken down, and the people who approved of this, frankly, should be fired because of the danger that it poses, if nothing else.
We'll leave it on that note.
Oh, yeah.
Tammy Brose, fired. Tammy, thank you very much.
The New York Public Library should always be quiet, but not today. These pictures of the Bush administration are generating all the buzz, and people in the library saying, today, it's okay to talk. So what do these photos say to you?
I was always so happy that somebody took them and showed them for what they have done to this country.
We love buzz around our exhibitions. I didn't expect this level of buzz on this one.
At the library's main Fifth Avenue branch, it's not often you see the President, Secretary of State, Vice President Dick Cheney, and more posing like this, complete with a date of arrest and a clapboard.
Who they are and what their intentions are and what they're doing shows so clearly through in their faces, which are not posed. I mean, that is their face, and I'm sure that they were taken in a very candid way.
Candid is right. The exhibit titled Lineup is a work of artists Nora Legarano and Marshall Reese. In front of this 1700s cartoon poking fun at the British king, Ferriero says the library has a tradition of displaying work that has political commentary.
The library has been collecting since 1800s political cartoons. And these are representative of contemporary political cartoons.
In case the photos don't say enough, the exhibit comes with audio. You can hear the Bush administration making comments about the Iraq war. But take another look. What's missing? Democrats.
So you have the Bush administration, you have the people that he appointed, the people that were confirmed. So they happen to all be Republicans, and if it was another point in time, they might all be Democrats.
For now, this library is getting people to do more than read. They're looking and talking, and today talking in this library is a good thing. This exhibit ends January 27th, 2008. From Midtown, Rob Malcolm, Fox 5 News.
The Newt Gingrich contract with America underwear. She's on the line.
And I thought part of the contract was to cut down on briefs, right? Yeah.
Pure Products has not always been about Republicans or Democrats. It's simply about the state of politics and marketing of politics. And with the underwear, it was really one of the first, one of the largest editions we had done of a political product. This project, I mean, was really initiated in 1995, I believe.
The Contract with America was a electoral program that the Republican Party and specifically Representative Newt Gingrich developed to defeat the Democratic control in the House of Representatives. Well, Newt Gingrich and the Republican Party had this plan to make it a kind of resolution or referendum on the Clinton administration. So they came up with this idea of the Contract with America, and they had 10 points that they proposed. They proposed things like the Fiscal Responsibility Act. These are legislative points: the Taking Back Our Streets Act, the Personal Responsibility Act, and the American Dream Restoration Act, as a way to kind of cajole the public into supporting their political aims. The Republicans and conservatives constantly use social issues, also known as wedge issues in our country, to make people vote against their economic interests. They vote on issues about abortion. They vote for things like, restoring the American dream, and it's a kind of trick. So when Nora and I saw the Contract with America developing, we immediately saw that this was an incredible marketing plan, that politics now, at least in the United States and probably also in the social democracies in Europe, use marketing as ways to communicate and convey their political ideas. That's really the basis for this series, Pure Products of America. And what they do to develop these ideas is they have focus groups, just as if they were a corporation putting out new products, where they ask advice or question people about what they like about particular things. So Nora and I saw the Contract with America as really being a type of a market and product, and we decided that we would make something that was really kind of absurd about this.
The funny thing about this is that $39.99 will get you a pair of these. They're obviously joke shorts.
It's kind of steep.
But they come with washing and ironing instructions.
I want size 28. That's not going to.
That's for you.
No, I was going to say it's not going to fit too many people.
We'll debate this. That's the news for this half hour.
This is CBS News, up to the minute.
Fiscal responsibility.
Too silly to be believed. A company in Washington, D.C. is now printing the Republicans' Contract with America on women's underwear.
Part of the reason for making this art underwear, is that we wanted to make something that we thought represented the Republicans' agenda, or certainly the Republicans' process for getting their agenda through Congress. There were a lot of things that they put out, but there are a lot of things under the surface that no one ever saw or thought about.
Is this a political statement on your part?
Well, let me put it this way, it's as much a political statement as it is a fashion statement.
But who's going to see these underwear?
The Republican National Committee, RNC, has recently been alerted to your use of the Contract with America logo and text in the production of underwear. The Republican National Committee hereby asks you to discontinue this unauthorized use of the Contract with America immediately.
When you think about Steve Kurt's case, where it is finally proven that the art context doesn't protect us in any way, do you see the danger of self-censorship nowadays?
Yeah.
Well, definitely, and I think post 9/11 is brought on a whole other. I mean, this project has gone on since 1992, so it's not just during the Bush administration. So, but certainly to bring it up to date post 9/11 has brought on this culture of fear, and it's brought it into, the realm of art making.
And this idea of self-censorship really started during the Reagan administration, when they started to attack funding cultural institutions for exhibitions that they were doing, attack artists during the culture wars. And then I think the idea of self-censorship really you really saw it then, when people were afraid, curators perhaps and institutions were afraid to show certain works. for fear of upsetting funding sources.
Is it difficult for you to get into art shows, though you have such a huge mass media response?
That's an interesting question. I think that because we are all, I mean, goes across the board for Europeans as well as Americans, but we're all part of a market in a sense. So that depends partially on what's in vogue at the time. And we have always done this work. So yes, it was, and now it's not. I was going to add one thing about the fact that I just sort of think we live in a time where there is amnesia is what this time for, this past 20 years has been about, and that things are very, very slowly eroding. And I think that slow erosion brings about a complicity or people they're not aware of the fact that they actually are losing their rights, because it's so slow, it's just disappearing as the ice melts in democracy.
We will not be intimidated by thugs and assassins. We will win this essential, important victory in the war on terror.
This is CBS.
From New York, there are two artists out there.
And some competition for BVDs and Fruit of the Loom. The GOP's Contract with America underwear for men and women.
First 10 copies of the Contract with America underwear sent to President Clinton. Speaker Gingrich and other members.
One of the artists who have created